In today's Leeds news, Summerville summer links, Junior Firpo set to leave, Bowyer would jump at Leeds, summer budget boost, and Rodgers makes Leeds decision. Morning folks, Jay here on the 7th of June with your daily Leeds news. And there's not massive amounts. It's kind of gone a little quiet since yesterday's massive breaking news about the takeover. It's gone a bit quiet. So there's a few small bits and pieces. So what we'll do is we'll get into these. We'll crack on through them. My one a week, it's Wednesday. So if you like the channel, if you want to support us here, you can do so by subscribing to the channel or liking and sharing the videos. That helps us to grow, gets more eyes on the content. So that's how that works. Anyway, let's crack on and get into this. And we'll start off with possible exits at Leeds. And we're going to see an awful lot of this as the transfer window date approaches. And according to reports in Holland, Aston Villa are keen on signing Leeds United winger Crescencio Summerville. The report from FC Updates claimed that Aston Villa and PSV Eindhoven are very interested in signing Summerville and bringing the Dutch under-21 international into their fold this summer. It also claims that PSV want to press ahead and get a deal done ASAP for Summerville, while it claims that RB Leipzig and Aston Villa are more on the keeping an eye on the situation than actually making a bid right now. Leeds did sign Summerville for €1.5 million. He scored 4 goals, has had 2 assists and 31 appearances for Leeds so far. Very impressive in the 21 and 23 sides. And a really good second half of the season when he did get into the Leeds squad. There was question marks about his defensive work and working up and down the pitch. But he definitely sorted a lot of that out by the second half of the season. It was a huge asset to Leeds last year. And unfortunately, not enough to keep us in the Premier League. But it goes on to say that Leeds would expect to be recouping anything in the region of £10 to £15 million for Summerville should they decide to sell. Summerville has a couple of years left on his contract, and Leeds are in a situation where they don't need to sell. But it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with Summerville. He will be a massive asset to Leeds in the Championship. That would be a player you'd want to hang on to. Moving on to other players potentially leaving the club, and Junior Firpo is the next on the list. And according to Fabrizio Romano, who tweeted last night that he expects Junior Firpo to leave Leeds this summer. Romano tweeted last night that he understands Firpo will leave Leeds this summer, with Europe being his expected destination, that several clubs across mainland Europe are interested in bringing the player in this summer. Firpo, one of the players who's really struggled since coming into Leeds, outside of a couple of games last season where we started to see maybe some of the reasons why Leeds bought him, but ultimately a poor defensive season all round for him, and injuries before that. Really never got restarted at Leeds. So it's could be an end of Junior Firpo's time at Leeds. Moving on, let's talk about the manager situation at Leeds. And Lee Bowyer was speaking with TalkSport yesterday, and he basically was saying that he would jump at the chance to manage Leeds United should someone make a call. Bowyer said that he did speak to Radrizzani prior to Sam Allardyce being given the Leeds United role. I think Radrizzani said something like, "You will manage this club at some point." But Bowyer, he's done okay in the Championship with clubs with limited resources. Did a good job at Charlton, decent job at Birmingham. Didn't get on particularly well with the Birmingham owners or board at the time, which didn't really help him, the situation there. But given the financial constraints at both clubs, he did a reasonably good job at both clubs and was rated very highly up until the Birmingham situation happened. But he was talking with TalkSport, and he said that he has a connection with the club. He understands what's expected there, and he would, if the chance was given to him, he would absolutely jump at it. This is exactly what he said in his quote. "If I got the call, I'd love to go there and get that club going again, get the fans on side and get the place back. I'd jump at the chance. I believe if I went there, I would get them promoted." Now, it's a similar situation to what Sam Allardyce said on his podcast before getting the Leeds job, that he felt that if he got the job, he would keep Leeds up. Robbie Keane, Sam Allardyce and Carl Robinson have all said the same thing in the last couple of weeks. So they came in too late to save Leeds, and to come in early, they would have saved Leeds. No one's going to say they wouldn't be able to do the job. So Bowyer said he'd be very confident that he could get Leeds back into the Premiership because he knows the division, he knows the Championship, he knows the players, and he knows the club. He's watched Leeds a lot this year, and on analysing the squad, he believes that he would have the credentials and the ability to get Leeds back into the Premier League. Bowyer is definitely one of the more higher rated up and coming coaches. He's struggled for work very recently, but someone will take a chance on Bowyer and he'll do a decent job there. If you look at the Leeds candidates that have been linked with the job, the likes of Scott Parker and Stephen Gerrard, I know Scott Parker has 2 promotions, but he's really struggled when he's got into the Premier Division. I would, if it was just them, if it was Stephen Gerrard, Scott Parker or Lee Bowyer, I think I'd rather take Lee Bowyer. There's other names in the list, so we'll move on and talk about something else. And let's talk about the summer budget boost. And the 49ers buyout of Leeds United looks like it is on track to be completed, possibly by Friday, maybe into early next week. And according to Phil Hay, this will result in a budget boost for Leeds this summer. Writing The Athletic this morning, Phil has said that the likely completion of a takeover by the 49ers enterprises would, according to those with knowledge of the intentions for Leeds, result in an increased closed season budget as part of the US Group's plans to inject funds into the club and avoid more than 12 months outside of the Premier League. It's one of the big reasons we should be keen on this. I know there's a lot of talk about US ownership and investment fund models and all of that, but if you're looking at short term and long term, from a short term perspective, it is a step forward for us. It would give us a lot more money to play around with. And if we did get back into the Premier League after 12 months, would put us in a much stronger position to make serious signings and compete with teams in the upper mid table positions in the league, rather than the 15 to 20 million pound bracket for transfers that we're competing in the bottom half of the table. So be interesting to see what happens with that. We are looking at I think the transfer window opens next week. I think it could be the end of June. Players aren't due back until the last week of June, I believe. So we'll start seeing movement pretty soon, I would imagine. And then finally today, short one on the manager situation. The Sun have had some information about Brendan Rodgers. So as it's the Sun, massive pinch of salt. There could be zero truth to this, and it could just be the Sun giving their opinion, as they tend to do. But according to the Sun, Brendan Rodgers will not be the next Leeds United manager. The Sun claims the former Leicester City boss is set to take some time away from the game following his sacking by Leicester City last year. Rodgers did something similar when he left Liverpool, took a break before he took the Leicester job, and it said that he may be looking to do a similar thing this time around. Rodgers has been heavily linked with Leeds and is said to be the number one candidate on the 49ers list should they get that takeover completed soon. They have him top of their list, but there is interest in Scotland from Celtic about Rodgers returning. I don't see that one happening. I think there's too much water gone under the bridge between Celtic fans and Rodgers, and Celtic and Rodgers, given how he left the club as well. And as I said before, I have a good friend, Paul, who's a massive Celtic fan, and even when he was at Celtic and winning things, he wasn't a huge fan of them. Different reasons. But I think it's more likely Leeds, or he'll hang on away for a Premier League position to come up. Palace is floating around as well, so there's a possibility for Crystal Palace as well. He won't be getting Spurs job, as Zhang Postecoglou has got that one now, so that'll be the end of that one. And that's it for today, folks. Thanks very much, as always, for joining in, for watching the streams last night. Massive thanks to everyone who joined me in the stream last night. It was a huge number on it, which shocked the hell out of me, so massive thanks for that. Have a great day, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Leeds news. See you then. Bye.